up the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up so I can make a better me.
Hello, Miami. Thank you so much for watching 305 Sports. I am your host, Will, and it is officially Tuesday, and we are awaiting what the CFP is going to say about the Miami Hurricanes and what placement they will have in terms of the college football playoff rankings. Of course, we got to wait for a couple things to settle in, like, of course, the conference champions and the group of five pickings and yada, yada, yada. But the bottom line is, though, we're still waiting to see what placement the Canes are going to be in. We're currently ranked 12 in the country. Let's see if Miami gets the same love to get jumped up. Okay, the goal is 9 or 10, if I'm not mistaken, for the Canes. But I do want to say a few things. Like, there's been a lot of conversation about Notre Dame, and I mean a lot of conversation from Notre Dame, from pundits on CBS to ESPN to podcasting to people on Twitter or X that have a lot to say about the scenario in which who should get in, Miami, Notre Dame, or both, or neither. Okay, it's pretty much what the talk of the town is. And the one thing I do want to say is the reason why I'm doing this episode, I originally wanted to do something on Sam Levitt, but it has been so obnoxious hearing people talk about the whole head-to-head, the hypotheticals and stuff like that, that I really want to do an episode on this. And I just want to say a couple things. If you are a Canes fan and you are watching this episode right now, please enjoy the statistical breakdown I'm going to be talking about. And if you're a Notre Dame Fighting Irish, I just want to say, keep it clean in the comments, please. That's all I want to say. That's all I have to say. But please let me know what your thoughts are on what I'm going to talk about. So one of the things that's been talked about a lot is the whole idea of the common opponent. All right. Well, first things foremost, I'll get to the final common opponent I want to talk about in a few minutes or so. But I want to talk about just a few things. I want to analyze and break down the games in which both Miami played Pitt, okay, NC State, as well, and also Stanford. I'm not going to include Syracuse because I'm sorry, Irish fans. I know you put up 70 against Syracuse, but you put up 70 on a lacrosse player quarterback, a walk-on quarterback. Well, Ricky Collins was a scholarship quarterback for Syracuse, and Fran Brown decided to bring out the lacrosse player again to take on you guys. So I'm not including that one in the category. We both blew them out. Let's just be honest and just keep the course. But I do want to break down the whole idea of the common opponents. So let's go over some common opponents. Okay, let's break down Pitt. All right, so the Miami Hurricanes on Saturday. Actually, no, let's go first with NC State. I want to go over NC State at first. So I'm going to be reading some numbers with you guys. The Miami Hurricanes obliterated NC State. I know it doesn't seem like a very good opponent, but at the time that Miami played NC State was playing pretty good football. They had just upset Georgia Tech. And Miami made up, and they put up a ton of yards on offense. CJ Bailey was looking like, if he was to hit the portal, a very coveted quarterback as well. But the Miami Hurricanes brought all that down to earth as they embarrassed, and I mean embarrassed NC State and CJ Bailey's homecoming by obliterating them 41-7. For 58 minutes in that football game, the Miami Hurricanes pitched a shutout. It was an unbelievable performance on offense. It was also an unbelievable performance on defense as well. All right, the Miami Hurricanes, like I said, scored 41 points, had 581 yards of total offense, okay? 367 yards in the air, 214 yards rushing, okay? And the opponents only scored 7 points, okay, in that football game. All right, so they just flat out obliterated NC State. It was a complete embarrassment, to say the least. Miami's defense looked very, very elite in that game. Very elite in that game. 24 first downs for Miami, 6 of 14. They forced 2 turnovers. All right, in the I'm sorry, I'm actually reading your stats, Notre Dame. Let me go to Miami's numbers for a minute. Okay, again, there we go. 41-7, of course. 28 first downs. Okay, 5 of 10. Okay, Miami turned over the ball once, but they picked off CJ Bailey a couple times. Malachi Tony had 2 touchdown catches. The defense allowed 143 yards total. All right, with 2 forced, with 2 touchdowns. One of them being 2 interceptions. Sorry, one of them being pick 6. All right, so it was a very dominating game on defense for the Miami Hurricanes. Now let's go to the Irish. Let's see how you guys did. I read those stats earlier. On October 11th, Notre Dame faced NC State. You won 36-7. You had 485 total yards, okay? Almost 100 yards less than Miami did. 342 yards in the air, 143 yards on the ground, 24 first downs, 6 of 14 on third down. You had 2 turnovers in the game. Carr, pretty impressive, I'm not going to lie. 19 of 31, 342 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jeremiah Love had 86 yards rushing, okay, in that game altogether. Let me go now with some comparative highlights again, the numbers I was reading earlier. All right. You had in terms of NC State with Notre Dame. Carrie read those numbers again, but the number I want to go over is that Miami held them to 7 points. It was 50 minutes into the game in which they scored, and Notre Dame, okay, against NC State, gave up actually 7 points as well for giving that one. Okay, so it's about equal of points, but Miami clearly was more dominant on defense and on offense against NC State than Notre Dame clearly was. All right, so I want to go over that. Now I want to go over Stanford. Okay, Stanford was interesting. Miami put up 42 points against Stanford, 404 total yards, 205 yards in the air against Stanford as well, 199 yards rushing, very balanced attack for Miami, no turnovers on the game, held Stanford to 7 points. Right, Notre Dame had 49 points, 524 total yards. Notre Dame's best outing in the comparisons I'm going to do. Between both teams, 337 yards in the air, leaned a lot more on the passing game than the running game, 187 yards rushing, no turnovers, okay, and Notre Dame's Stanford scored 20 points, be it in more or less garbage time in the end of the fourth quarter, but nonetheless, the Irish gave up 20 points in that game, even though I know they rested their starters in that capacity. So as of right now, the Miami Hurricanes clearly have the edge in terms of how they've dominated their opponents in NC State and Stanford. NC State was averaging, like I said, 33 points coming into the game against the Miami Hurricanes. That was a very formidable offense, not a very good defense, I'm not going to lie, but a very formidable offense, and the Miami Hurricanes just flat out obliterated them altogether, to say the least. I'm looking for the sack totals here against NC State. Look for it just right now in terms of what Miami was looking for. Let's see if I can find them here. Okay, as well. I'm just looking at my notes here so you guys get a bit of an understanding. They sacked CJ Bailey quite a bit. He was pressured about 30% of the time, and about 37% of the time in his dropbacks as well. Bailey had a very rough outing against the Canes. It was pretty difficult for them altogether. Now, but I want to go over the common opponent, which is Pitt. Right, so the Pitt Panthers. This was a game that Miami was there. There was a little bit of worry amongst the fan base. I know that we felt like to win this football game, but there were some concern based upon the weather and how locked in Pitt was going to be. Pitt's a pretty good opponent. They play pretty good defense. They have some talent on the defensive side of the ball. They have pretty good linebackers, a little undersized in a defensive line, but they have some talent, and Miami embarrasses them from start to finish. I'm gonna mention why that's important in the next couple minutes or so. But Miami wins 38-7. Yes, they score with like 45 seconds left, but nonetheless, you still have a defensive back covering a receiver in single coverage, draped all over him, and the receiver still made the catch. All right. I think it's more about the receiver making an excellent play and defender and getting beat more so than the optics of what was going on, in which I will discuss in about a minute or so. Miami was absolutely balanced in this game. 276 yards through the air, 140 yards to the ground, 28 first downs. Okay. 4 for 8. All right. 4 for 8. Okay. On third down. Okay. 50%. Carson Beck had 1 interception in the game, and then, of course, Bryce Fitzgerald sealed the game with his interception as well. Beck has been the most efficient quarterback in a single season in Miami history with over 70% completion percentage, 23 of 29, 267 yards through the air, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Malachi Tony, true freshman, Malachi Tony just turned 18. Malachi Tony, 13 catches, 126 yards, and throws a touchdown pass as well. The defense had 4 sacks in the game and held Pitt at home to 229 total yards and 30 yards rushing altogether. Dominant performance all around for your Miami Hurricanes. All right, as well. Okay, let's see. Now, let's look at Notre Dame's numbers against Pitt. Now, I've had some more context here as well, because Pat Narduzzi. And now the thing is that you also have to understand that team takes the personality of the coach. And if the coach doesn't care or says that, well, they could beat us by 100, we want to get to the AC's championship game, it shows how locked in Pitt really was in this game against the Fighting Irish. And the Fighting Irish did make him pay, though. 37 of 15. Total yards, 387 yards, 202 yards passing, 125 yards rushing. Very balanced out of Notre Dame. 20 first downs, 4 of 12 on third down. They had 2 turnovers in the game. Pitt's defense played a little bit better against CJ Carr than they did against Carson Beck. 21 of 32, 212 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Jeremiah Love, though, 147 yards rushing in the game with a touchdown. And the defense did pick up 4 sacks in the game and one pick six, okay, on their behalf. So, okay, so not too bad, all right? So pretty good against Pitt. Miami much more dominant from start to finish. And what makes this so interesting is that Pitt was ranked in this game, had come off a spectacular victory against Georgia Tech the week before. And they knew the stakes if they would have beat Miami. And Miami, from the first moment that whistle blew, Ahmad Moen gets a sack in the game. I knew it was going to be very difficult for the Pitt Panthers, and they proved it. Listen, the reason why Miami scored a touchdown in the last few seconds, I know it's been controversial, and that's what a lot of Notre Dame fans want to point out to. And Steve Sarkisian, and his pettiness, decided to point that out as well. I got something for Sark later on during the day as well in a short. But the bottom line is that Miami dominated that game from start to finish in elements that these young men are not used to, and they did it again in a balanced fashion. They played great defense, and had a very, very, very strong offensive showing. Miami made a clear statement against Pitt that they belong in the college football playoffs. All right, they belong in the college football playoffs altogether. Okay, so there's a lot of things that are being said about the whole scenario between the Miami Hurricanes and of course Notre Dame. I gave you guys the breakdown, the overall numbers in general, and both teams dominated their opponents. The 3 opponents I went, it's complete domination. Notre Dame, Notre Dame is a really good football team. I will not deny that they're a talented football team. Jeremiah Love is a very talented running back. I understand that. CJ Carr has done very well as a true freshman, starting for the Irish. But the bottom line is that if you want to talk about an eye test and who's playing well lately, well, although both teams are playing well, Miami's playing beyond its mind right now. Well, they're locked in defensively and now offensively as well, which makes them very dangerous and very entertaining to watch if they were to be allowed to enter the college football playoff and be one of the 12 teams to enter the college football playoffs. So I wanted to really address that with everybody in the fan base in Notre Dame as well. So there's been a lot of talks right now about, well, if Miami played Notre Dame, who would win that football? I think Notre Dame would win that football. I've heard that all over the place. If we played you now, we would win that football game. Listen, hypotheticals, okay? It's like toilet paper. You know exactly what to do with them, all right? The bottom line is, though, hypotheticals mean nothing. Hypothetically speaking, SMU should have beaten Cal, and they didn't. Hypothetically speaking, okay, Miami should have beaten Louisville. They didn't. Hypothetically speaking, A&M should have beaten Texas. They didn't. Hypothetically speaking, Texas should have beaten Florida. They didn't. Okay? So the hypotheticals mean nothing. All right? The bottom line is they mean nothing. They're just opinions. But it's not an actual fact at all. Okay? But you know what's reality? You really want to know what's reality? This is reality. Okay? This is reality. Week 1, 27-24 at Hard Rock Stadium. The Miami Hurricanes defeat the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. 27-24. That's a reality. That's a head-to-head. That's the matter. If not, why play this game? If not, why not play this game at the end of the season? Okay? That's a reality. Okay? And there's several realities as well that still Alabama got blown out by Florida State. Florida State ain't even making a bowl game. So, I mean, there's a lot of things to be said here. And you can cry as Notre Dame fans. You can say, well, we've been playing better and you guys lost it. Listen, SMU was 3 points away from an ACC championship game. And because we have so many teams and the stupidity of the committee and the ACC and the president and stuff like that, basically getting rid of divisions, you have Duke in there. But the bottom line, though, is that SMU finished 8-4. That's not a slouch team. All right. And we played them on the road. Louisville is an 8-4 team. Louisville just destroyed an SEC team. Okay, 41-0. Destroyed them. And everyone, when Miami was upset by Louisville, said Louisville's got some dudes. They got really good linebackers. They have a good play caller for a head coach. They have a first-round wide receiver in Chris Bell. Isaac Brown is going to play on Sundays. Everyone's been saying that. It's not a slouch team, and it was close. All right, it was close. The Miami Hurricanes lost to those two teams by a total of 9 points, by less than 10 points. And one of those teams won in overtime. The Miami Hurricanes have given up no more than 24 points in regulation. I'm not counting the 26 that SMU scored. I'm talking about from quarter 1 to quarter 4. The Miami Hurricanes have not given up this season more than 24 points. It was to Notre Dame and it was to Louisville. And let's be perfectly honest. Notre Dame made a comeback in the fourth quarter because Miami took its foot off the gas. That was one of the criticisms of this game, that Mara Cristobal and Shannon Dawson did not go for the throw, which allowed Notre Dame to come back. But Miami was pretty dominant for a good 3 quarters. And let me tell you something else, Notre Dame fans. I want you guys also to understand. Miami has added wrinkles to its offense since the SMU loss. Okay, they've allowed Malachi Toney to be more of a multidimensional player, not just a receiver. He's played quarterback. He's done the running back thing as well. We're doing more outside runs with Gerard Pringle, utilizing him in the backfield to catch the football as well. The Miami Hurricanes have opened up their playbook a lot more, which I believe has allowed them to be more balanced and more dominant the tail end of the season. Okay, which allowed them to be 10-2, made them a 10-2 team, and has brought them into the conversation for being a college football playoff team. And not only that, it's not just me saying it. People on 3 are saying it as well. Danny Canal, a Florida State alum, is saying it as well. And now Nick Saban has said it. And now you have Colin Cowherd has opinionated on it as well. And you know what the funny thing? I want to let the ND fans know this. You know what the funny thing about this game is? The score is as well. And all your arguments are about us and hypotheticals and stuff like that. We beat you guys straight up, hat on hat. You could probably count with your fingers the outside runs in this game that Miami had. I don't remember any trick plays. I don't remember Malachi Toney throwing one in the end zone to Elijah Lofton for a touchdown, or to JoJo Trader, or to CJ Daniels. I don't remember any of that. Miami beat you with a base offense. Hat on hat, straight up, lineman versus lineman, and you lost. Your Heisman Trophy candidate of a running back, okay, let me just go to the numbers really quickly. Who, by the way, Jeremiah Love is talented. He's playing on Sundays. I'm not going to take anything away from him. All right. But your Heisman Trophy winning potential nominee running back, Jeremiah Love, had 10 carries for 33 yards, 3.3 yards per carry. The guy who's been so dominant against everybody this year struggled against Miami. He had one big run, and that's it. The secondary's been playing a lot better. That's another thing, too, because you guys had a scramble and stuff like that, and your receiver caught in the end zone because our receivers kind of got caught ball watching a little bit. Okay? Sorry, defensive backs got caught ball watching a little bit. That hasn't happened lately. Miami secondary is a lot better now. And that's without Keontae Scott, who's the best defender we had on the team in the secondary, and probably even on the defense as well. Bryce Fitzgerald stepped up. So the bottom line is, though, I want you guys to think about that while you're screaming at this video, while you're angry at this video in general. Miami beat you without having to use Malachi Toney and some gadget plays. Miami beat you with barely any outside runs. Hat on hat, they stomped on you. So what do you think would happen if we played again? Again, it's hypothetical. I don't know. But it's not going to be as easy as you think. Because no. The teams that you wanted to compare Miami to, with the exception of Syracuse, so you put 70 on them, Miami dominated them a lot better than you did. Miami played better defense a lot better than you did. Okay, as well. Miami got to the quarterback in a very, very aggressive fashion. That's why they say that Mesidor and Bain are probably the 2 best defensive ends in the country. And they made CJ Carr's life a living hell week 1. Imagine at the end of the season in the playoff game. So I'm not saying Notre Dame doesn't deserve to get in. Okay? They've earned the right to get in. But not at the expense of Miami Hurricanes, because at the end of the day, head to head, the Canes won. Doesn't matter if it's week 1 or week 12, the Canes won that game. They beat you straight up. And next year, you get to get your own narrative when we go over there to South Bend. And believe me, we will go over there. I don't think we're canceling that game. But the bottom line is, this season, Miami deserves to be in over Notre Dame. Do both deserve to be in? Absolutely. But if I'm going to choose, yes, I am biased, but I'm also very logical. Head-to-heads should matter. If not, why play non-conference games? Head-to-head should matter. And Miami beat Notre Dame straight up. I don't want to hear Notre Dame has better losses. Their better losses, fine. Their better losses are, one of them was against Miami. That needs to be recognized. So, ladies and gentlemen, okay, that's what I leave you with. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. If you enjoyed this episode, stop sharing. Okay. If you enjoyed this episode, please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to 305 Sports Now. Almost close to 2,000. Let's help get me there, guys. And also, a new feature. Do not forget to hype this video as well. This also helps as well. Push it into the algorithm and get people this wonderful content I'm creating for all of you. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it for me. Have a wonderful day. Once again, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to 305 Sports Now. Have a wonderful day, guys. God bless. See you soon. Go Canes. All about the U. Bye-bye, everybody.